RowCall219 here, and here's another hunting story. Too bad it didn't yield anything. So the other day, uh, I was back on Cindy's mom and dad's property, and I was tracking uh, these two hens that I seen come out. I did a couple of calls, and nothing materialized, and I just watched these two hens for a little bit. And off the right side of me, uh, I heard a big swooping down, and it was either a Tom or a Jake. Wasn't that big. Uh, at this point, big enough to harvest. Yeah, I would take a shot at it. So he comes down and he chases off the two hens, and where I'm sitting, uh, there's a field there, but it goes around like a corner, and he chased them back up into the corner of the woods. So I waited for a minute. I did a couple of calls. Forgive my goose over here. He's happy. And the hens came back out, and then he came back out, but he chased them back into the woods. And for some reason I couldn't. I don't think I'm skilled enough to pull a Jake or a Tom off these hens at this point. It's getting kind of late in the year. Everything's turning green. So the hens might start to roost and nest right now. And I might not get one. So I'm sitting there and my phone vibrates. And I look at it, and Cindy sends me a couple pictures. And there's two more hens in our front yard. So I'm like, damn it. So now I'm waiting to see if they'll hopefully cross the street, not get hit, and then come back up into the field. So I waited for another good 35-40 minutes, and the ones that I saw, they never came back. So I pull up into the driveway here, and I look around, and there's nothing. And I open the trunk. I'm getting ready to grab my gear and take it inside because I got other stuff to do that day. So I hear the goose out here, the guy that you hear, and he's making his hissing sound, but he's also doing a really low tone. And watching him over the course that we've been here, that's kind of like telling all the chickens and the ducks, watch out, there's something coming. So I'm thinking to myself, what's he doing? Why is he making that noise? So if you can see back behind me, that's the driveway. As I'm coming up the driveway, I walk not even around the corner of the house, and I'm telling you, it was one of the biggest wild turkeys that I've seen. If you go over to Budget Guns and Gears channel, you can see his turkey. It was either that same size or a little bit bigger. I mean, if I would have fanned his tail out, I think it would be about off camera. That's how big and how tall he stood. And as I spooked him, and as I tried to creep back, man, he just took off and he ran to the other side of the house. And as I walked around the other side of the house, man, there's 4 or 5 Jakes just come ripping out of the woods, and he's honking, and and he's strutting down this trail back here in front of me, going back into the woods. And then the Jakes come back in here, and they stop at the chicken coop, and they start kind of like harassing my chickens a little bit. And I got the pictures on Instagram. If you go on my Instagram at RowCall219, you can see some of the pictures. It's just the one Jake, because I couldn't get the other ones because they took off back behind the chicken coop, and they took off. But once the goose let out a really loud honk, all you heard halfway down the trail is one of the deepest gobbles. Even watching videos on YouTube, I have never heard a gobble that deep and long, and he just took off. So that was one of the saddest moments that I could ever imagine. I wasn't ready to see all these turkeys in one spot. The indication was, there's some hens there. Maybe there is some Toms or Jakes or something running around. But since I didn't see the hens, I didn't put two and two together. And hearing the goose do his thing, uh, especially his weird noise, and I always remember that noise that he makes for hopefully the next encounter if this guy ever comes back. I mean, I'm not kidding you. This is he stood he I don't know if you guys have ever seen my son on the channel. He's been on the channel before. I mean, he stood almost as tall as my son. That's how big this bird was. And you know, he might be the king of this area. I don't know, but hopefully he'll go into the spot that I need him to go into next time around. I mean, but that seemed to me be like one of a lifetime things to see. And you know, it's cool that I saw it. Don't get me wrong. It is really cool, especially when you're out in the wilderness, you know, and you're watching these animals communicate with each other and do their thing. But that sucked, man. It was one of the low points, and this just happened a few days ago. And then today I watched a hen 2.5 hours, and finally she kind of crept off, and you know, nothing came out to follow her. That's why, you know, again, it's getting kind of late in the season. I think they're kind of trying to find a spot to hunker down, and I hope that's not true. And I did take my decoy today and set it up and hopefully entice something to come out, since she was out there. And I did some calls today. Didn't hear a gobble, but I actually heard the hen cluck and yelp back. So hopefully she didn't, you know, think that I was a more dominant hen and telling her to go away. I'm not a aficionado in turkey language, but it was cool to see the hen come out and start strutting and doing her thing. But again, nothing to boast about. So hopefully it'll happen in the next few days. I gotta fill this tag. I think my tag was $30 some. So I ate my deer tag last year, so hopefully I'm not gonna eat my turkey tag again this year. So hopefully that guy will show back up in my spot, or you know, down the road, because I got a spot down the road I go and do. So I got a couple of options, but that was one of the most amazing birds that I've seen. Harvesting that bird would, I mean, that would probably put it on the map. That's how big that bird was. Some people, I probably have shot bigger birds than that, but to see it in this area, and I've noticed the turkeys don't get all that big, just from the ones that I've seen over the past few weeks they've been showing up. That was a big bird, man. And it sucks that I couldn't get them, but you know, you win some and you lose some. So hopefully you enjoyed that story. Hopefully the next time I do a hunting talk about, then I'll have something to show for it. But so far, no dice. So with that being said, I'd like to thank my old and my new subscribers and just the people that zip through. Greatly appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe, share your favorite gun content, share your hunting stories, and like always, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.